Alright, hi, welcome.
Hey.
Nice to meet you.
You too.
So your name is Jacob.
Yeah.
Alright, Jacob, tell me a little about yourself.
So, you should probably saw from my resume. Currently a student at BYU, Idaho. And I'm majoring in website design. That's what I want to go into. As you can tell right now, as I've been talking a little bit, I kind of have a stutter, even as I try and say the word. There it is. But that's kind of my distinguishing characteristic. It's something I've had all my life. It's helped to refine the way I communicate, interact with other people. It's something that's really given me a drive to exceed expectations. A little more relevant, I guess, to the job at hand that we're talking about. I've had about 10 years experience as a freelance web designer. And when you're working freelance kind of on your own, you really learn how to be self-motivated. I learned how to juggle multiple projects at once. Learned how you gotta adapt and be willing to continue your professional development so you can keep pace with your industry, and you'll keep yourself relevant because it changes so fast.
Yeah, for sure. So you've kind of touched on this, but tell me a little bit more specifically, why are you interested in this position with the church?
Yeah, so regarding working for the church specifically, so I've worked for the church before as not in this type of job, but as a temp worker on the ground crew on Temple Square.
Okay.
And although it wasn't the type of work that I necessarily enjoy or want to go into, working in the environment of a church job was something that I found very appealing. You know, just a super wholesome environment. You don't have to worry about, you know, foul language or, you know, dishonest business practices or anything like that. And as part of the orientation for that job, there was something that was emphasized that Elder Bednar had said about working for the church. And he said that while it's not a calling, it's more than just a job.
Yeah.
And that's an idea that just really appeals to me.
Yeah. No, I like that. So what skills do you believe you would bring to this position?
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, I've had some freelance experience for about 10 years working in the industry. Specifically designing websites. So I've got a number of technical skills in both user interface design and in just, you know, professional skills in general, being able to work on a team, being able to work under pressure to meet deadlines and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So I'm sure that you have some experience with the design of the church's websites and, you know, all of that kind of thing. So is there anything, you know, that you've noticed that maybe you would like to change or something that you think that could be improved?
You know, the church has been really good on being on the edge of technology.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's hard to really say, oh, this is something that I should do differently.
Yeah.
Or I think just being part of, you know, on one of the teams that continues to refine the websites, and to keep up with the latest technology.
Right.
you know, there's always need, you know, new content is always being updated and published. And just kind of being a part of that whole process is something that I think would be great.
Okay. So is there anything on the user end that you've noticed that you really like or anything like that?
I really like on like the main church website, lds.org, how really simple the layout is.
Yeah.
And how flexible it is for, you know, for mobile view,
Yeah.
all that.
Mm-hmm.
Because over like 50% of online content now is, you know, it's viewed on mobile.
Mm-hmm.
And so really seeing how the church has kept up with that and is continually refining things to provide the best experience.
Okay.
It's something that I've noticed and that I think is really cool.
Awesome. So tell me about a time when you failed at something and how did you deal with it? You can take a minute to think if you need.
Yeah, that's a good question. So about a year ago, winter semester, it was just like a really hard time in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Like I pretty much lost my job freelancing. There was one specific company I was getting all my work from,
Mm-hmm.
and they changed their business model to only using local developers.
Mm-hmm.
So they were going to send me work anymore. And that was literally the day before I came back to school after winter break.
Oh man.
I got really sick that semester. It was just like the worst cough like I had ever had in my life up to that point.
Mm-hmm.
And it lasted for like over a month. Just other issues, like I hurt my foot, and so like I couldn't run anymore, which is
Mm-hmm.
something that I really enjoyed and was like a good stress reliever.
Okay.
Just all this stuff was going wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And academically, I really suffered that semester. I started the semester with 5 classes, and I ended it with only 2.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Wound up with a couple of W's on my transcript after that. And so I really wasn't that happy with my performance that semester. It was a really hard time, but I really wish that I would have stuck with it and not given up on some of those things as easy as I did. And so, that was about a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've had some semesters since then. And while I haven't had circumstances that have been as hard as that,
Mm-hmm.
there's still been some challenging semesters. And a couple of times where I really, really wanted to drop a class, and take another W. But because of that prior experience where, I had failed in that, it was something I was able to push through.
Mm-hmm.
And, overall become a much better, focused student because of that.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So you talked about doing some freelance jobs that have helped you get some relevant experience. So is there a particular freelance job that you think really developed those skills?
So, so most of my work came from this online company. They were based out of Milwaukee. I was in Virginia, and our early interaction was online.
Mm-hmm.
But we developed a really good working relationship, and starting off with them, they were looking for student designers. That's how I was able to kind of get on with them without having a whole lot of experience yet.
Yeah.
And so being given that chance, that really gave me a foothold to get started, to really, get some real world experience in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
So, up till then, kind of like as a teenager and stuff, I did just fun little projects here or there, but didn't really get paid on anything. But it was that first kind of opening shot that I got with that company that it gave me a boost to be able to really get a foothold, I guess.
Yeah.
And things.
Awesome.
We're at 10 minutes.
Sweet. So, describe your most ideal work environment.
So, on my mission, one of my areas, there was a family I met, the father, he was working for Toby, and I mean they were in a nice neighborhood, nice house, nothing too fancy, but in the backyard they had a shed that he had remodeled, and that was his home office.
Oh, okay.
And so he was able to work at his job online from his office just in his backyard.
Okay.
And like he was able to eat like all 3 meals with his family every day. You know, he would occasionally travel for work in different trips, but for the most part he was able to just be there at home with his family. And that was something that just it really appealed to me. And so ideally, that's the kind of thing that I would like to get to. Be able to have a job that would enable me to have that kind of lifestyle where I can be there with my family.
That's awesome. All right. Well, do you have any questions for me?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think we've covered a lot of what anything that I needed to know. So.
Perfect. All right. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Shannon.
That's right.